So the campaigns are now starting in full swing, and we are starting to see some more meat, or at least of what these what's on offer, shall we say, on the table. And of course, one of the big things you will often see is, well, a lot of these, what you're going to see is, Labour and the Tories are quote the same thing. Well, honestly, you could not have a more starker difference between the two parties when you have a look at what essentially they are now offering to young people to try and get them to vote. So, what is being offered, or what has been offered this morning at the time of me doing this video, is that Labour have come out and say we are going to give the vote to 16 and 17-year-olds. Great, excellent. Couldn't agree more. Really good policy. We'll get into it in a moment why that is. And of course, why young people should indeed vote, because this video is going to turn into, hey, young people, you should get out and vote more, sort of video message. But also, we heard this morning as well what the Conservatives are now offering to young people. So imagine this. First of all, Labour comes out and says, hey, 16, 17-year-olds, you are going to get the vote. That I'd say is an incredibly good thing to offer to 16 and 17-year-olds and their ability to be able to vote. Because depending on when you are born, you may be, 17 at the time of this particular general election, but now you can't vote until May of 2024. So obviously this for you isn't really going to be, good at the moment. But next time the election comes around, these more young people are going to have that opportunity to vote that you did not. So making sure that you keep this right for them is going to be certainly incredibly important. Versus, of course, what the Conservatives have just rolled out this morning, that they are going to roll out, bringing back, of all things, national service. So what's going to be offered is that during, from the ages of 16 to 18, you are going to be offered a year's service in the army, or you will be able to do a non sort of combat role in either the police, fire service, or ambulance service. That is essentially what is being offered. But it gets even more hilarious than this, because at the time, as you know, national service is almost, well, it was very much a form of conscription. Uh, and of course, the Conservatives, realizing that, oh, actually, they've just made a call for conscription, have suddenly also been scrambling on the morning news shows when this was announced to go, oh, no, you don't understand. This is just volunteer. Like, all this is volunteer stuff. To which every single news reporter who's had this fed to them has said, hold on a second. You've said that this is going to be compulsory in some way. Not only that, we do not actually know what incentives these people are going to get. Are you going to get paid if you do this for a year? Is there going to be any other benefits if you do this type of service, etc. For this? Might you then get, I don't know, preferential treatment if you want to go, I don't know, if you do, let's say you do the police route, do you get preferential treatment in going like and applying for a role in the police? If you could sort of continue on that, if you want to go off and be in the police force. Now, if this was just an entire voluntary thing, fine. But remember, this is being specifically sold as a return to national service, which was a conscription-based idea that was brought in, of course, by the Attlee government way back after, of course, World War II. Pretty much because they thought they were going to go to war again, and, well, Cold War, etc., etc. You know the stuff. Yeah, we don't need to go into the full details, but there was a reason, you know. So obviously, this I don't think is really sort of going to work in the long run. But when it comes to, of course, offering the vote to 16 and 17-year-olds, this would be an incredibly powerful thing. We know full well that if this had been around, certainly during the referendum, for example, This could have very, very easily tipped the scales in the Remain side very, very easily. So that is something well worth remembering when this is obviously being offered. But remember, one of the big things that we always know and we always complain about when it comes to voting is that young people, unfortunately, do not do two things that older people, or as you get older, do, which is vote often and vote consistently. And because young people do not do those two things until they start to get older, this could be a incredibly powerful voting bloc that could actually get a lot of things done, be a force for a lot of progressive changes, be a very big force for, like, building sort of housing, job creation, for young people, a lot of issues that young people face if they actually manage to really get mobilized and get the message that if they vote regularly and they vote often enough, that they are going to be listened to. And this, of course, becomes a big problem because when this gets announced, I can guarantee you immediately after, like, whatever election votes will take place, you will see attack ads from the right wing saying, ha, all these 16, 17-year-olds, guess how many turned out to vote? We're already seeing that, by the way, be deployed against Labour right now. That this type of sort of young people do not get out to vote, and we always say this: you should get out to vote regardless at the next general election, because this is why a lot of issues do get not listened to. Why do older people get the more lion's share? Well, they vote, and they vote consistently, and they vote regularly enough that they get listened to. Now, this is one of the big issues on this, that this isn't going to necessarily just kick in overnight. Young people, and that voting bloc in particular, has to vote regularly and vote often enough. They are not just going to get listened to instantly straight away, at like immediately the next election. They have to prove that they are a voting bloc, and that MPs spending their time going to engage with that audience is going to be, worth the time to go and seek out those votes. Now, you might say, oh, but aren't they going to go and seek out that vote? But hey, historically, young people have not turned out enough and consistently enough to be worth going after the vote. If they do start to do that, then MPs will start to pay more attention to young people, and of course, more young people issues as well, if that starts to happen. But as always, and we always say this, you have to get out. You have to get out and vote to show that you are a voting bloc and you are worth listening to. So, as much as a good idea it is now up to really young people to really start to get the message. You have to get out there, you have to vote, you have to vote regularly, and you have to vote often at every single chance you get, because otherwise MPs will not come to you. And I know that sounds very disheartening, but you look at the data, look at the reason why they are probably not going to go seek out your vote initially. It will take a few elections, a few cycles, but if they keep it up, if they keep up the pressure, keep on reminding them, hey, we are here, we are a significant voting bloc, MPs will start to get the message, and suddenly that becomes a very, very powerful voting bloc. And of course, better for future for democracy as well, because now the message from these young people does sink in that they should vote often, they should vote regularly, and it will be a better democracy for everyone. The more people who vote in a democracy, the better it is for everyone. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, I'm still on holiday as always. So until I get back, thank you very much for all those people who do help support the channel. Like I say, down below, Patreon page, buy me coffee link where you can buy me coffee, YouTube thank you button, and of course the Pony Club down below as well. So as always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.